Hello friends, today we get started on the Garden Gate series by building the arch. Stay tuned. Well, what a fun project. I've been wanting to do this for quite a long time. Inspiration for this came from New Yankee Workshop, actually an old TV series, and I found a two-part video online and I'm adapting it for my purposes. So to begin, I have 6 2x6 by 8 foot boards that I'm gluing up essentially to make 4x4s. I used 6 clamps for each board, probably should have used 10, that's neither here nor there. Once they had dried overnight, I took one of those big long boards and cut it up into 4 even sections with a 22.5 degree bevel, and that allowed for 4 pieces to make a jagged arch like so, which you'll see in a moment. Here I'm cutting some splines into the ends of the pieces that we just cut on the chop saw. These are going to add a lot of extra strength, and it needed it. And trust me, they did a great job. That arch is nice and strong. Once those splines are put in, I just made sure all of the pieces had the curved ends of the 2x4s cut off, so it looks like a solid 4x4 piece. And then I simply glued them together, applying it liberally since it soaks into the end grain of the board. Now, I mentioned earlier that I got the inspiration here from a New Yankee Workshop. He had a lot of tools in his workshop that I don't have in mine, so I'm adapting some of his design for my purposes. I think more of you have tools similar to mine than giant old radial arm saws and massive band saws and other things. But if you have those, great! Use what you have. That's the whole point. There are plenty of flaws in the final product that I put forth, but it is perfect for my use. I'm very pleased. As I'm gluing this up here, this is nice and strong. I had some spare pieces of 2x4 which I attached to the top. That just added some extra clamping pressure, and then I tied a Bessie clamp around the bottom of it like so, just to give it as much pressure on the top and the bottom. I let that sit for 2 days because I had time on my side. Once it had dried, I took the giant compass that my wife got me as a gift a couple years ago, and I made the biggest arch that I could possibly make in that space. And it ended up being a little over 3.5 inches wide, which is great. I don't have a big bandsaw to cut this out. The best thing that I could do was use this jigsaw, and it ended up taking me a little over an hour to do it in real time, which is why the fast forward footage is so fun to watch here, because it's not realistic. Use what you got, right? There were a few flaws. They've got a little bit of a crack here at this joint in this example. I filled it in with some putty, sanded it smooth, and it gets painted over in the end. You can't see it, and it is very sturdy. It's nothing to worry about. And here I'm simply cutting the 4x4 posts to their final width. These are going to be what's holding up the arch like so. Once the posts were cut, I went and made an X at the bottom of the arch and on the bottom of those posts, and I drove in a 1-inch thick dowel 3 inches into each end. And then after a test fitting, I applied some tight bond glue quite liberally and drove those down. Sorry for the darkness here. I ended up doing it in my garage at about 10 o'clock at night. You know how it is when you've got a project, you just go with it until it's done. This crossboard on the bottom I applied to the legs just so that I could clamp it up and move it a little bit better, just a temporary fix. Once it was the next day, I took it outside, painted the bottoms because those legs I wanted to be dry before I put them in the ground. I borrowed a post hole digger from my neighbor and I dug a hole about 2.5 feet deep on either end. I used gravel for the first 3/5 and sand to fill in between the gravel and to fill it up the rest of the way. I didn't want to use Quickcrete. I was afraid of making it a permanent structure. Trust me, it was plenty sturdy in the ground, nothing to worry about. It doesn't move with the wind and it barely moves when you lean up on it. All in all, the whole thing is about 7.5 feet tall, so as I go through it with my hat and my bouncy gate, I don't hit it. Perfect! That's the nice thing about custom design. And this color is called Delilah from Sherwin-Williams if you're interested in getting it for yourself. It's a beautiful color seen in the garden of Bridget's aunt and uncle, and we decided it was high time that it gets added to our garden as well. It's whimsical, it's got a great feeling, and it really contrasts with all the greenery and the other paint colors from the things, the sitting bench and the potting bench that we made in the garden already. So this is part 1, the arch. Part 2 is going to be a door, and part 3 will be a pergola. Thanks for watching, guys. Hey guys, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe right away and then hit that notification bell down below so you're the first to see anything else that I put out. If you like this video, go check out either of these two, and as always, thanks to my Patreons for making things possible. Until next time, bye!